Hello everyone, in this video I want to give you an update on how my OCD is going. It's been pretty challenging. As always, I ask for everyone forgiveness because I have obsessive compulsive or controllable repetitive unintentional negative thoughts from whomever I see or think about. Sometimes I hear a word, hear a song, and hear a piece of something, and I start just repeating it as a parrot. I'm very sorry. I'm really mad as a goat since the beginning of 2024. So it's been already 2 years since I developed OCD, which was a very confusing situation until thanks God and thanks Anthony William, the Spirit of Compassion, I was able to get the Medical Medium Brain Saver book, which explains what OCD is. OCD is a condition that in the majority of cases is caused by toxic heavy metals. In some cases it can be caused by emotional trauma, like the brain gets calloused with emotional trauma sometimes, and that can provoke OCD. But what usually happens is that there's two toxic heavy metal deposits in the brain, toxic heavy metals such as mercury, aluminum, copper, cadmium, nickel, arsenic, etc. And they are in the brain and they are not causing so much trouble, but because the brain heat and because of the way of how toxic heavy metals in the brain find one another, then a bigger deposit gets created, and then that bigger deposit creates a bigger damage on the brain. It damages a broader area on the brain, and because of that damage on the brain, then OCD is created. And Anthony explains, with information from Spirit of Compassion, as all the medical information is, that a thought, which is electricity, comes through the brain and it crashes into the toxic heavy metal barrier, and then it bounces back. And while it is bouncing back, there's another electric thought that it's coming, and then they collide, and then there's a micro explosion that gets projected outside even of that pathway or just in that place, and then another thought comes, bounces, and then another comes, another explosion occurs, and the circuit just keeps going on and on and on and on and on and on ongoingly. And so fortunately there's a solution, which is extracting those toxic heavy metals. And fortunately, there is a way revealed also by Spirit of Compassion through the medical information, through Anthony William, which is the Heavy Metal Detox Smoothie, which is a smoothie that has 5 key ingredients, which are wild blueberries, barley grass juice powder extract, spirulina, cilantro, and Atlantic dulse. In the amounts, which if I remember correctly, it's 2 cups of wild blueberries, or 2 tablespoons of pure wild blueberry powder. That would be 30 grams of pure wild blueberry powder, or 2 ounces of pure wild blueberry juice, 1 teaspoon of barley grass juice powder extract. Anthony says that the correct one is the Vimergy one. 1 teaspoon of spirulina. Again, Anthony recommends the Vimergy one. Tablespoon of Atlantic dulse, that 5 those and a cup of fresh cilantro, tightly packed. Those ingredients are blended with 2 bananas, the juice of 1 orange, and up to 1 cup of water or coconut water. And that's the heavy metal detox smoothie, ideally taken in the morning, ideally after the celery juice, ideally after the lemon or lime water. So the morning cleanse from the medical medium is 32 ounces of lemon or lime water, which is 1 lemon or 4 small limes or 1 big lime juice, freshly juiced, on 32 ounces of water. You drink it upon waking up on an empty stomach. Then you wait 30 minutes. Then you get your celery juice. The new minimum, the new baseline for celery use is 20 ounces. That's information from the Medical Medium latest book, the Medical Medium Life-Changing Foods Expanded Edition. I really recommend that you get it if you haven't. There's really a lot of new information, plus all new recipes from the previous version. So I think that both are extremely useful. If you can get both, that would be, I guess, the best. But the one that is now expanded, that is the fullest information, most up to date, is the Medical Medium Life-Changing Foods Expanded Edition. There on the chapter on celery, Anthony explains that now even though for years medical medium books have said, and Anthony has said, that the minimum for celery use in the morning on a straight on an empty stomach was 16 ounces. Now it's 20 ounces because of the challenges of the quickening and all the EMFs and all the different pathogens and toxins that we are exposed as humanity, and the stress, etc. The new minimum that everyone should be drinking at least of daily pure straight celery juice is 16 ounces. It's 20 ounces of celery juice, not 16 anymore, 20 ounces. So that sounds like challenging for most of people. It's certainly challenging for me. I'm definitely not able to do it at the moment, but well, the truth is the truth, and here I am sharing it with you. I wish I had known this information years before, but I'm very grateful that I know it now. Spirit of compassion, Anthony also says from Spirit of Compassion that knowing the problem of your symptom or condition is half the battle won, and knowing what to do about it, how to cure it, how to heal it, it's the other half. So this is an incredible tool. Then after the celery use, you should wait between 15 to 20 minutes, ideally another 30 minutes before having a breakfast. Ideally based on fruit. You can add some raw honey or pure maple syrup grade A. As a second best option, you can have steamed potatoes or steamed sweet potatoes. And as a third option, you can have oatmeals. Again, you can add raw honey or a grade A maple syrup, 100% pure and 100% raw honey. And then you should not eat any radical fats until lunchtime, at least. Radical fats meaning any kind of animal product, and or any kind of vegetable fats such as avocado and nuts of any kind. None of that until at least lunchtime. And ideally you should be cutting the fat that you consume by half. That's the basic. If you want more information, you can check out the Medical Medium Cleanse to Heal book. It's an amazing book by Anthony William from Spirit of Compassion Information, where Anthony shares several cleanses that are super healing, super important, super useful to cleanse our livers, all our organs of all the toxins, our lymphatic system that we all are exposed to, that we inherited from our parents, that they inherit from their parents, and that we breathe every day, drink every day, eat every day, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. So we all need to cleanse. The most powerful cleanse in the book is the 369 cleanse, first introduced in the Medical Medium Liver Rescue book and updated for the Medical Medium Cleanse to Heal book. So both books are crucial, are critical. You should get both. And if you are only interested in doing the cleanse, I would recommend that you get Medical Medium Cleanse to Heal, although all the full reasoning behind why it's necessary to cleanse the liver you can find on the Medical Medium Liver Rescue book. It's a critical book. All the 8 books of the Medical Medium series are critical. So going back to my situation, so it took me a few months to get the Medical Medium Brain Saver book and read the OCD chapter and find out what was going on with me. So in the beginning I was confused, I didn't know what was happening. It was so traumatic and stressful for me, and of course for the people around me that according to me are telepathic and somehow know everything that I'm thinking, even though sometimes they are not even physically near me. Kind of their remote view, and then I start having dreams about the people that I have insulted during the day, or people get revenge in more or less overt or subtle ways. So it was very challenging. It has been very challenging, but thanks God, thanks Medical Medium, thanks Anthony Williams, Spirit of Compassion, I got to read the Medical Medium Brain Saver chapter on OCD. I got my explanation. And since then, I kind of have been struggling to being able to take the heavy metal toxic smoothie. The reality is that I have not properly taken it in these 2 years because I don't have enough resources to do it here in Mexico City. First of all, wild blueberries don't grow in Mexico. Second of all, we don't import them in Mexico City. I have looked into all the different stores and all the different supermarkets. We simply don't have wild blueberries. We just don't import them. They are not existent as far as I have checked in the last couple of years, and I do it recurrently. Like I go to the supermarket and say, would this be the day in which I'm going to go into the frozen aisle of the supermarket and I'm going to see a bag of wild blueberries? But it hasn't happened yet. For sure, you can be sure that I will let you know when that happens. But it hasn't happened in 2 years. Of course, I have tried to reach out to the managers of some of the supermarkets. I have spoken with some of them. I have tried to leave messages. I have tagged the supermarkets on my Facebook public webpage, but nothing has happened, and apparently no one has done anything about it, at least nothing that has made a difference in the sense of there are still no wild blueberries in Mexico City. So we don't have them. Fortunately, we can use, as I was saying before, the pure wild blueberry powder, and or the pure wild blueberry juice. However, custom laws changed in Mexico a few years ago, so unfortunately we cannot import directly, we cannot we cannot buy directly from Bimergy in Mexico anymore, which for me it has been a real tragedy, something really frustrating and really challenging, because in the past I could order directly from bimergy.com, as most countries on the planet can do, but we in Mexico cannot do it anymore. So fortunately, there's a distributor of Bimergy, an official distributor that I think became official distributor a couple of years ago, or something like that, that distributes Bimergy products in Mexico, Karen Letaif. She's in Puebla, in another state in Mexico. But well, at the moment, the prices for Bimergy products in Mexico are completely out of my reach. So it's been really, really difficult to get Bimergy products. Sometimes they are also available through other web pages, through Amazon Mexico, which uses similar prices. I don't know actually if she's the one that manages the Bimergy products on Amazon or if it's another seller. But well, the pure wild blueberry powder it's very expensive, especially because you need for the heavy metal toxic smoothie, for your daily dose, you need 2 tablespoons, which, as I was saying, it's 30 grams, because this international standard measure for 1 tablespoon is 15 grams. So 2 tablespoons is 30 grams. So basically you need 900 grams per month. So that's at least more than 3 size of 250 grams of wild blueberry powder from Bimergy, because now I also see that they are selling here in Mexico the smaller version of 120 grams, and it's already very expensive. So you have in mind, you need 900 grams per month in order to properly do the heavy metal toxic smoothie. Having said that, if you can get any wild blueberries inside of you in any form, meaning powder, pure juice, or frozen or fresh, get them. You know, I'm pretty sure that even a teaspoon per month could be useful, because it's so amazing, such an amazing food. Anthony explains why in depth in a chapter in the Medical Medium Life Changing Foods Expanded Edition, and he basically talks about them in all his books, and he mentions them again in Medical Medium Brain Saver book, because of course they are so important to extract toxic heavy metals from the brain. And actually the heavy metal toxic smoothie is a key component of many of the protocols. If not, I'm not going to say all because I have not read them all, but at least many, if not all, of the protocols of the Medical Medium Brain Saver Protocols Cleanses and Recipes book, which is kind of the, I don't want to say companion book, it's like the other book. They were supposed to be one book, but they are 2 books, but you need both. So you not only need the Medical Medium Brain Saver book, you also need the Medical Medium Brain Saver Protocols, Classes, and Recipes book. I only have that one on Kindle, but there you have a protocol for many symptoms and conditions, neurological and otherwise. And there's a protocol for OCD, and of course it includes a daily dosage of heavy metal detox smoothie. So it's been very challenging. The barley grass juice powder extract, it's also expensive here, the Vimergy one. Fortunately, I have discovered that Terrasol, which is also a USA brand, that is available through Amazon Mexico, also sells barley grass juice powder through Amazon, which is much less expensive. And I still have to try that one out. Anthony doesn't have that one listed on his webpage, so I assume that the Vimergy is still a higher quality, but well, if the only one you can get is that one, I guess that would be a good idea to get them. Still, it's something. Of course, Atlantic Dolls, we're able to get them. Anthony, the brand that he recommends, I don't want to mispronounce it, so I'm not going to say it, but it's available through Amazon Mexico. It's a little more reachable, and the spirulina, of course, the Vimergy one, it's very expensive, but there are of course many other brands of spirulina, although Anthony has always said that the quality of Vimergy products is superior. The brand that Anthony used to recommend before is the Hawaiian spirulina, before Vimergy had their spirulina, which Anthony says that it's upgraded in quality, so that's the one that he recommends. But fortunately, spirulina is very available in health stores, sometimes even in pharmacies, sometimes in some supermarkets, through the internet, online, through Amazon. You are able to get spirulina more easily, fortunately. So that's it. And so it's expensive to get the heavy metal detox smoothie, at least it is for me, so I have not been able to get it. I was in the process of finishing my PhD. I was in the process of publishing the requirement, which was paper with you as the first author, was the main requirement for me to get my PhD in biomedical sciences. But then I developed OCD, and I figured that it was not a good idea to go to the lab and start insulting my boss and the lab technician and the laboratories and my lab mates and the kind of, the other researchers that were going to evaluate me, etc. So I stopped going until a few months later. The PhD program said that I couldn't continue because I had taken too long to get my title. So that's how I lost my PhD after 9 years of being a PhD student. So that's reality. That's what happens. Anthony says in his books, I believe even he's in his first book, Medical Medium, now in a revised and expanded edition, Medical Medium Revised and Expanded Edition. I recommend that book because Anthony shares his story there. He shares about who Spirit of Compassion is, how Medical Medium information came to be. So I really recommend to you. Besides, he covers a lot of very important things, such as the Epstein-Barr virus and the shingles virus, for example, Lyme disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple sclerosis, autoimmune diseases, thyroid issues, hypothyroidism, adrenal fatigue, etc., etc., etc. And Anthony says that he mentions the US. He says that there are tons and tons and tons and tons of college students that need to leave college every year in the US alone because they are not able to continue with their studies because they start having symptoms and conditions, autoimmune diseases, chronic fatigue syndrome, and it just happens. In fact, again, throughout the Medical Medium series, he says there's an army of people who live in Mattress Island, who live in Couch Island, that are unable to get out of bed, that are able to get out of the couch because the level of sometimes pain, or at least the level of fatigue, the lack of energy is so much that they are not able to function normally. people that need to go to the supermarket at hours where they know there are not going to be a lot of people, people that avoid social interaction because that's going to affect them very much, because they have a very sensitive nervous system, because they have PTSD, because they have adrenal fatigue, because they have tingles and numbness, they have brain fog, and everything drains them. It's something that it's really, really horrible. However, it's true. The thing is that you don't see most of them because they are kind of hiding. They need to be in their houses, in their apartments, in their rooms, so you can be unaware of them, and people are like, what's going on with that person? That's a lazy person or whatever. But the thing is that we are reaching fast a point in which Anthony says that most of us are going to have symptoms and conditions, basically all of us. So what he says that in the not so long distant future, what is going to unite us and what is going to predominate on social media is people like me talking about their symptoms and conditions and what they are doing to heal, because it's going to be so universal that it's going to affect us all. And the reality is that the system doesn't have the answers, and it's not the fault of the physicians, the doctors, all the people that work in the medical system, but it's just how the system is set up. Like, for example, the Epstein-Barr virus, it was a virus that didn't cause basically much trouble. Anthony says something like it caused a little bit of back pain when people reached 80 years old or something, like in the beginning of last century. But then they took it, they mutated it, and they feed it things that we eat, like eggs, dairy, gluten. Now it's a very aggressive virus with more than 60 varieties, and it's behind many of the autoimmune diseases that we have, such as Lyme disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple sclerosis, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, many types of cancer too, which Anthony says that cancer is usually the combination of at least one pathogen, such as a virus, such as the Epstein-Barr virus, and at least one source of toxins, such as toxic heavy metals, such as mercury or aluminum. So it's a very complicated panorama, it's a very complicated landscape, it's a very complicated view that we have. So it's really tragic, but it's a state that humanity is in. So we really need to make something. And I know that I'm speaking about my situation here in Mexico City, and of course I am also recording these videos in Spanish. I know that this could be for the authorities to do something about it, for the people in the supermarkets. I don't know who is the one that can make that decision to import wild blueberries from the USA or from Canada. But if you are listening to this video and you don't live in Mexico City or in Mexico, still this information applies to everyone on the planet, because of course these viruses affect us all. Anthony says that I saw on a Facebook post some time ago that he said that by age 30, virtually all of us have at least one variety of the Epstein-Barr virus and one variety of the shingles virus. Imagine. And these viruses also get inherited through the parental line. So if your parents had it before they conceive you, you have it basically. And if you have it, then your children are going to have it. And of course, the new varieties of these viruses are more aggressive and they move through stages more quickly. In the Epstein-Barr virus, Anthony explains that it has 4 phases. First one is mononucleosis, or the kiss disease. The phase 2, it goes inside the liver, it starts nesting there and start creating damage and secreting some neurotoxins. Phase 3, it moves into the thyroid. And Anthony says that I think more than 95% of all thyroid problems are caused nowadays by the Epstein-Barr virus. And then it moves into the central nervous system, and that's where diagnostics such as arthritis or lupus or Lyme disease or chronic fatigue syndrome or multiple sclerosis, among others, get given, because it's when people are having all these stronger symptoms and conditions, because these viruses eat and they secrete neurotoxins that causes a lot of symptoms. The nerves get inflamed, so people get tinnitus and eye floaters and brain fog and chronic fatigue, and then get tingles and numbness. And people don't understand it because they are not experiencing it, but the chances that you are going to experience something like this in your life, or that something that you love, someone that you love is going to experience it, I think that are pretty high. Besides, of course, we are getting all these new viruses. We got the COVID. God knows what else we are going to get. Anthony says that they always release new super flu viruses to weaken our immune systems. So it is very, very, very challenging. Anthony says that never before the immune system of humankind have been so challenging. Plus, we are going through what Spirit of Compassion calls the quickening, which I think most spiritual teachers call the ascension, like the awakening in consciousness, the shift in consciousness. Spirit of Compassion calls it the quickening. We are going through that process. Himself from Mastering Alchemy describes it. We are moving from the third dimension, which is good, bad, right, wrong, should, shouldn't, duality, linear time, past, present, future, and you die, and there's nothing unconditional, everything is conditional, into the fifth dimension, which is simultaneous time, cooperation, harmony, unconditional love, co-creation, etc., 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 etc. But of course, it's a process to get from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. Plus, Anthony explains from Spirit of Compassion that in the quickening, it's not only an awakening, but everything is getting accelerated. Technology is getting accelerated. Magenta Pixie, in her The Tao of the Crucible book, which is her latest book, she channels the White Wing Collective Consciousness of Nine. She has a YouTube channel, Magenta Pixie, and I recommend all her books, which are channel books from the White Wing Collective Consciousness of Nine, which is her guidance system. To all of you, amazing books. The first one is Masters of the Matrix. In the Tao of the Crucible, Magenta says from the 9 that June 2026 is kind of the this critical point in which AI, there's going to be this shift, because AI is going to be something so big. Read the book. I don't want to misquote the book, but that was my understanding. Read the book by yourself. But I remember that she was pointing to the June 2026, to a point in time which was kind of critical regarding AI, and of course regarding technology. Pam Gregory has spoken since a few years ago that now that with the entering of Pluto into the sign of Aquarius and Uranus into the sign of Gemini, especially while they are within a trine, but all throughout their period of time there, there's going to be a massive revolution in technology, not only AI, but all technology. So Uranus touched Gemini for a little of time last year. Pluto fully entered into the sign of Aquarius on November, and now it's fully there, and now Uranus is going to soon enter for fully into the sign of Gemini for the next around 7 years. So it's going to be very, 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 very fast 7 years, very, 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 very exciting and challenging times. A person that I think that has been keeping up to date with AI is Michelle Lakiani from Mind Valley. I recommend that you check Mind Valley, and there's the webpage, mindvalley.com, or the app. There are many, many, many courses on self-development, on self-growth, spirituality. You check it out. There's probably something that you might be interested. For example, I love the Duality and the Unlocking Transcendence Mind Valley courses by Jeffrey Allen that he has there. Jeffrey gives in his Duality course tools that are extremely useful for this quickening ascension period of time. So I would really recommend that you take that course. You don't need previous energy knowledge, and even if you are experienced, you're going to be able to get so much from Jeffrey courses. I really recommend to all, as I often do, the Mastering Alchemy course. It's a long course, an online course, masteringalchemy.com, taught by himself and the Teachers of Light, which are a group of archangels and ascended masters. And it's a course designed by the Teachers of Light to help humanity in their ascension process, individually, collectively, and to raise also the planet to its full potential. So it's a course that I also really recommend. Take level 1 and level 2. Level 1 gives you the fundamental tools to deal with the ascension, the quickening, moving from third to fourth dimension to stabilize yourself into higher 4D. Fourth dimension is a paradox. What was true a minute ago might not be true in this moment. What was false a moment ago might not be false in this moment. Jim often used to give the example of someone knocks at your door and that person insulted you 20 years ago, and 3D, you just close the door on their face. In 4D, it's like, I remember who you are, but come in, have a cup of tea, and what's going on? And the person says, oh, I'm very ashamed that I insulted you 20 years ago. I wanted to say sorry. I haven't feel guilty all this time. And you say, okay, and you have a nice time. That's 4D. What was true a moment ago, she's never going to change. He's going to be the same. Can't change. So 4D brings flexibility to the rigidity of 3D. Of this is the way it is. It's never going to change. There's no possibility. 4D brings everything, brings this flexibility and paradox, as well as it's all about present time. So someone that it's a master regarding being in the present moment, of course, it's Eckhart Tolle. Of course, I'm really grateful that Oprah expanded his message of Eckhart Tolle by having him in her book club more than one time. Eckhart Tolle bestseller book, The Power of the Now. I was recommended the book, I read half of it, and it was, oh, it's interesting. And it really took me years to kind of reread again, and it's like, wow, this is a treasure. I really didn't read it the first time. Maybe I should read again, because it's so critical to be in present time, in the present moment. And nowadays, it has become kind of a cliche, kind of a commonplace that people talk a lot about present time, and I think that's absolutely wonderful. Even in psychology, a lot of psychologists speaks about the importance of being in the present moment, about mindfulness, for example. Even in the 70s, Fritz Perls developed the Gestalt therapy. I really recommend Gestalt therapy because it's a therapy that is centered in the now moment, in being in the present moment. So fortunately, now in the Western world, being in the present moment is being recognized as something more important. For example, I can mention to you that Anthony Williams shares from Spirit of Compassion in the Medical Medium Revised and Expanded Edition that you can pray to the Angel of Awareness if you want your intention to be in the present moment complete, that she can help you. It's an angel of feminine energy, as all the 27 essential angels the Spirit of Compassion shares in the Medical Medium Revised and Expanded Edition, that you can pray to help you to fully be in the present moment. So the key to speak to the angels, according to Spirit of Compassion in the Medical Medium Revised and Expanded Edition, is you need to speak to them out loud. It can be in a whisper. You don't need to shout. It can be just a whisper, but when you say it out loud, the thought singles itself out, so that the angels don't lose time within all the things that are going on, kind of like the Inside Out movie, where there are songs and a lot of things going on in the mind that sometimes one cannot control. For example, when you have OCD, so when you say the name of the angel, let's say Archangel Michael or Angel of Awareness, that grabs the attention of the angel, and then you should speak to the angel, in this case to her, to the Angel of Awareness, and to all angels, kindly, with faith, respectfully, and sincerely, and that's it. And they are here to help us. They are happy to help us. They are excited to help us, but of course they have free will, and I think that they would like to see us participate too in the process, to see that we are really committed and interested, so that they are going to use their time productively when there are so many fires to put down in this period of time in humanity. There are so many things going on at so many different levels, and it's not only our emotions, it's not only our thoughts, it's not only our mind, it's not only our spirit, but it's even at the level of our physical bodies. So we are being challenged through many different fronts at the same time, and the answers are not even out there. So we kind of are like the frogs in the pot of hot water that are getting heated and heated, and it's getting heated and heated and heated and heated and heated until they die. They don't realize that it's the water is it's getting it's heating up until they die alive. There, it's an example that Claudio quotes in one of his books. I don't know if it has been translated into English. I hope it has. In Spanish, it's called La Revolución que Esperábamos, which would be something like the revolution we were waiting. Check out that book, The Revolution We Were Waiting, or something similar. The title would be by Claudio Naranjo. Claudio was a really, really, really wise man that had a lot to contribute in this period of time of the quickening, of the ascension, even though he was not speaking too much about these terms specifically in his books, but everything that he was working on about the awakening, about alignment of humanity, was completing this line. All his work on the Enneagram is masterful. If you are new to the Enneagram, or even if you are an expert, really you should read Claudio books. The Enneagram Society is marvelous, and if you are an expert on the Enneagram, or if you are a psychiatrist or a psychologist, you really, really should read Character and Neurosis. Claudio Naranjo did a masterful job in contextualizing the Enneagram in the context of Western psychology. Claudio not only knew about psychoanalysis, he also knew about psychiatry, so he was able to contextualize the Enneagram with the DSM, for example, and make parallels and comparisons between other Western psychological approaches. So it's a masterful work for psychologists, for therapists, for coaches, for people that work one-on-one with people. And even if you don't work one-on-one with someone, you still can use the Enneagram knowledge to work in yourself. Definitely the best book in English is written in English is Beatrice Chestnut, The Complete Enneagram, 27 Paths for Self-Knowledge. I might be misquoting the subtitle, but The Complete Enneagram, 27 Paths for Self-Knowledge. I might be misquoting the subtitle, but it's The Complete Enneagram by Beatrice Chestnut. Amazing book because she describes the 27 subtypes of the Enneagram, so you are able to get a much more finer description and much more detail of your Enneatype and subtype, because most people only know the 9 main types, but not a lot of people know, and especially not in depth, about the 27 Enneatypes. And it's critical information. Of course, Claudio Naranjo had the SAT program, Seekers After Truth, and the program runs all over the world. I don't know how you can contact your local program. I read in Beatrice Chestnut blog that she went a few years ago to a SAT program in the USA that she enjoyed and recommended, but I don't know. I also know that in Europe there are several places. I know that in Spain they are very active, the SAT programs by Claudio. We have a SAT program active in Mexico. All over the world there have been SAT programs, but you would need to do your research. Regrettably, Claudio has passed away, but it was a long life, full of giving, full of sharing, full of wisdom put into practice and into service of the world. And well, I understand also Claudio's frustration at the end of his life, when in the last part of his life he was advocating for a change in education. He has also a book regarding changing education, called in Spanish Cambiar la educación para cambiar el mundo, which would be something like changing education to change the world. I'm not sure if the book has been translated in English. Again, I hope it has, or it will soon. But I remember Claudio saying in one of his conferences that as of late, even after that, he was disappointed because after years of giving conference and trying to convince education authorities around the world to change the way education happened, to try to bring emotional education for the educators, for the children, so to create a massive change, basically his words came into deaf ears. And so he said, I'm thinking that what people need is dynamite. And he was an advocate of psychedelics. But I'm going to mention also here that Anthony William from Spirit of Compassion says that psychedelics are definitely not good for neither your brain nor your nervous system, especially if you have symptoms and conditions. So I think that we need to use discernment there. I'm positive that the shift is going to happen one way or another. But Jeffrey Allen used to give the examples. So Ascension is going to happen. You are going to get there someday, eventually. But the thing is, are you going, the train is going to be moving here? Are you going to be connected through a cord and on the floor scratching yourself all the road? Or are you going to be sitting down in first class, having a cup of tea and enjoying the view from your window? And it's kind of our choice, right? Like the Ascension is going to happen. Humanity is going to ascend into the fifth dimension and into multidimension. The planet Earth is going to ascend into 5D and multi-D. That's going to happen. The thing is how the journey is going to be for you, how the journey is going to be for us collectively, and it's on us. Himself and the Teachers of Light say that there were many souls that wanted to be alive in this period of time, and they couldn't because there were not enough places. There were not enough bodies available. But you got a chance to be here. We got a chance to be here. We are here. So let's make the most of it. Like all the aliens and ETs and all the eyes of the universe and the multiverse and all that is and reality are put here upon humanity, upon this planet, upon you and me, because we are the game changers. We are changing the flow of consciousness. We are going back home, and this is marvelous news because what happens in this planet have a domino effect upon all that has fallen in consciousness into the third dimension, which is a lot. And still, Jim says that Archangel Metatron said that physicality is just a tiny drop of water in the vast oceans of the all that is. So that really puts things in perspective. I remember one picture, I think it's from NASA. I don't remember if this, I'm not going to use the proper word, Lanonadek. I don't remember. I'm really mispronouncing it. I'm very sorry. I didn't prepare before this video, but you might be familiar with the picture that shows kind of the biggest picture of the universe that we have, I think. And it's like we are here, like our galaxy is this tiny point and it's the galaxy. It's like that puts everything into perspective, right? And to think that we all are one. I'm absolutely convinced that there's only one source, there's only one consciousness. There's actually only one being that it's playing to be many and that decided to experience separation, etc. But it's only one. We all are only one being. It sounds kind of like a joke, right? Like, then why do we hurt one another? Then why do we insult one another? Then why do we make war to one another if the other person is me? And that would be the reason why Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, right? Because your neighbor is yourself, actually. But, of course, we are so immersed in the third dimension. We are so under the illusion of separation that we are just addicted. And it's an electromagnetic field, too. So we get pulled down into rage and envy and wrath and fear and all the 9 passions of the Enneagram and everything that is bad, let's say, right? And it's more difficult to sustain grace and goodness and kindness and joy and forgiveness and equality and equanimity, etc. However, that's what we need to do if we want to have better experiences. It's so easy to complain and to keep ourselves down in the emotional scale. However, it's so important to keep our emotions high, to have a positive view, to be optimist, even in the midst of darkness. For example, I have not read Viktor Frankl's book, but his book, A Man in Search of Meaning, which is a classical book, I know that it speaks about his experience. He wrote it after his experiences in a concentration camp and how he survived, and how you have to have a positive outlook in life because challenges are going to happen, and I mean, health challenges are happening, and I mean, I'm not going to even tell you in this video uh, the things that Anthony says that are going to happen in the future, health-wise for humanity, in his medical medium life-changing foods expanded edition. It's so horrible, so I'm not going to mention it in this video, but it's really a bleak future, and that's not like to be a crow storm or anything. It's just that, well, if you know that the storm is coming, then you can get prepared, right? So that's the reason why I'm giving you the information. Like, you can start drinking the 20 ounces of celery juice daily, straight pure celery juice in the morning first thing, and then waiting 30 minutes. Or you can wait until you get an autoimmune diagnosis or you are unable to function and start then. However, doesn't it make more sense to try to prevent yourself from to getting in that situation in the first place? As in, I remember in Medical Liver Rescue book, Anthony said that 9 out of 10 people had already a sluggish, stagnant liver, and that was back in 2018. And I have the idea that he actually said that in 10 years, it was going to be 10 out of 10 for everyone that was not following medical medium info protocols. And people don't like it. People don't like medical medium info. People don't like to eat in a different way. Dr. Barry Sears used to say that it's easier for people to change their religions than to change their diet, which I think is a sad thing, but reflects something about human nature, about how we work. I understand that it's not easy, that sometimes it's not optional to follow all the protocols that we would like. Otherwise, I can't follow all the medical medium protocols that I wish to, but I know that if I follow medical medium info, even to the extent that I do, I would be much, much more worse. So if you don't have the money, as me in this moment, to pay to get your 20 ounces or more of straight celery pure juice every day, then at least you can try to get your 32 ounces of lemon or lime juice every day. Sorry, water every day. Lemon or lime water, as I described, every day. And if you cannot do that, then try to get the 16 ounces. Half a lemon, half a big lime, or 2 small limes. And if you cannot do that, then get 32 ounces of pure plain water. And if you cannot do that, then get 16 ounces of pure plain water. Everything is going to help. Get into your system some lemon balm tea every day before going to sleep. Get some hibiscus tea every day. You cannot do it every day. Get a cup of hibiscus tea once a week. Get a cup of lemon balm tea once a week. So the thing is, you get to know the information through medical medium books. Anthony always encouraged people to read them on the library if they can get them, if they can buy the book, if they can get a copy for themselves. Anthony has donated many copies to libraries throughout the years, so you should check in your library if you're unable to get your own copy, although if you can, you should. But you can get your copy from the library and start doing something for yourself, because otherwise life is going to be so much more challenging. It already is for all of us, and challenges are not going to stop. So rounding up the video, again, I'm very sorry. I'm really ashamed. Please forgive me, everyone, that I have insulted directly and indirectly with my thoughts since 2 years ago, and in these last few days. There's nothing more than I can say except sorry. Thank you, I love you, and sorry, please forgive me. Ho'oponopono, because what else can I do? I cannot do anything else. Thanks God, I got a job as a language line interpreter, bilingual interpreter, through Human Quality here in Mexico City. So I'm going to have some income. I cannot be depending on my parents anymore. They have to attend to their own health issues, and of course they don't follow medical medium information, although they should. But at least I think that at this point on time, it would be best that they focused on themselves. So it's a challenge, but what I can tell you is that even though I don't have my psychic abilities open enough yet to really actually see you, I can tell you, I see you. I acknowledge your suffering. You are not alone. You are loved beyond your wildest dreams, as himself used to say. And I'm with you. I'm a human being like you. I am you. You are me. We are one. We all are one. I love you. Everything is going to be all right. And the doors of my heart are always open for you. Many blessings.